Hello and welcome to Las Blancas Podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of Las Blancas. In this new series where we discuss Madridistas in action at the Euros and we talk about the European football as well in general. It was the final day. It was England versus Spain, the reigning defending European champions against the world champions. So there was a lot going on going into this game. Like there was a lot at stake. There was this angle of, the revenge story of the World Cup final and everything. And England did get their revenge. So England have retained their European title, beating Spain on penalties. And we have today to break this game down and talk about a couple of players as well from this game. We've got Maryam, who is an England fan, so she's on cloud nine, and as always, we've got Kanita as well. Maryam, I'll hand it to you first to take your thoughts, initial reactions, your emotions. What is going on through your head after the side has retained the title?
Songs, like the Sweet Caroline songs going through my head. We are the champions also going through my head. There's so many signs that I saw like online and at the pitch as well. People like making jokes about bangers and mash and beans on toast because the Italians were really annoyed and said beans and toast. I think today I feel quite proud of my part British heritage because what England have done is been a difficult thing. I think they came into the tournament, the squad was maybe a little stretched. Think of players like even like in the midfield, Stanway coming on. She's barely played any football since her injury. The surgery in December. With questions over the back line, new goalkeeper Hannah Hampton coming in for Mary Earps. There was a lot going against us, and I wasn't entirely convinced of Serena Weigmann's tactics. Very first game France, 2-1, not looking great. So by no means has this been a perfect tournament for England, but I think first of all credit to Weigmann. Last time I was on here I talked about the fact that she was quite adaptive in a way that I don't think she was in the last Euros. But credit to the young players as well, like Michelle Aguimang is going to be a household name in the WSL in the UK now. Hampton as well, first time being number one, coming in and absolutely smashing it. Backline looks strong. Chloe Kelly, strong last time, strong again. So I think when you think of that concept of seeking revenge, I think it's even sweeter because things haven't gone England's way, and still they managed to push through. Where if you think about Spain, right, I feel like the final turned out to be the first game where they essentially were challenged. I think they've had a pretty easy ride through the tournament. Maybe the opening game, I think it was a 1-0 win. But even then, like there was never a game where I looked at them and thought, oh, they're struggling or they're finding it hard. Whereas with England, it felt like every single game, it's like, this is really hard to watch. There's so many issues. So Spain had a relatively easy ride, and England had so many different struggles, different tactical changes, different positional changes. So it feels like the hard work paid off, and I'm sure Spain will feel hurt, but they're still world champions. So maybe revenge isn't the right thing, because they still have that over us, but we have this.
Yeah, and you talk about England, things not going England's way. They were leading for just 5 minutes in the entire knockouts
Wow.
this edition. So they have really battled it out. They have been trailing in the final as well. They were trailing in the semi-finals. They were trailing in the quarterfinals. They were trailing. So they have had to fight it hard. But yeah, I mean, congratulations to you. Kanita, I'll come to you. I know you, like, as a proxy to supporting our Madridistas, you were rooting a little bit for Spain. What are your initial thoughts on this final?
Yeah, yeah, congratulations, Mariam. I'm happy
So
for you.
happy.
I'm so happy for you. No, like jokes aside. Yeah, I'm not that upset by this. I don't know, like it was such a weird final, and yeah, it's not like that I support them a little bit. I do usually go for Spain in any tournament, even though, yeah, they sometimes piss me off. And this penalty shootout, I kind of knew like if they came to penalties, that they would lose. And once again, players that shouldn't have missed, and I knew that again, like it was that kind of. Bad juju that I felt from them. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it started off strong. They were they scored first, but the other day, Maryam, actually, I sent you that reel, which is a skit like. Basically, the England player like letting the opponent score, like, oh yeah, go score, well, just turn it over in
Do
the
it the
last
hard
few
way.
minutes, just score. Here you go. So yeah, I was like, yeah, we're winning, but this is England. I don't know, So yeah, I don't know. Like sometimes it was really, let's say annoying, like frustrating. At some points, in the second half, it became more interesting. But yeah, I mean, I was, uh, I was at least that none of the Madridistas or ex-Madridistas were there for the penalties. Okay, like even Olga got subbed off for Layla for the second half of the other time, the extra time, and I was like, okay, not even she is taking a penalty she missed in that final, so I was like, okay, good, like now added pressure on her, very good, okay, and I was good when I was actually laughing because the first penalty had to be reviewed, so from then on I was laughing, and yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
helped.
there was that drama. Like I was watching it with my brother, and we had no clue what was happening because they recently changed the rule, and
Because of the
it
Champions League
showed.
final thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it showed the that it was an indirect free kick, which I was like, what are you talking about?
double
It's a
touch.
penalty
Yeah.
shootout. What do you mean it's an indirect free kick? But yeah, uh, and also let's go back to the start of the game. When the lineups came out, there were a little surprises on both the sides, right? Like for England, people weren't expecting Lauren James to start because there were questions about her fitness and everything, and Jess Carter as well was dropped in the semis for Esme Morgan. So people were expecting that to continue, but we have known Serena Wigman to not be this experimental with her lineups, with her starting lineups especially. It's always consistent, and it showed again, sort of reverting back to that, even giving a start to Lauren James, despite it later showed that she wasn't at full fitness either. So England took that risk, did not pay off. Spain as well started with Atenea, who has played the role of an impact sub in this tournament, has come on and has influenced game in the past, like scored in both, like assisted in the semis, and had another goal contribution in the quarters as well. So she was coming into this in good touch as well. So what did you make of those lineup changes, and what were your initial thoughts when you saw the lineup? Mariam, I'll come to you first.
I think I wasn't all that shocked by the England lineup. Expected Carter to come back in because again, it's like you say, it's a tried and tested back for. She's had to play in so many different positions. She looks most comfortable. She's playing in a central position, and obviously that's something that we've seen Wagman do before in other tournaments. In regards to Lauren James, I always feel like that's such a tricky situation because more often than not, the critique around it is because people are being racist. But actually, as I was mentioning to Kani off air before we started recording, I think people forget that Bonmatí had viral meningitis before this tournament started, and that's not like something that just easily goes away. I mean, I know she still played in the tournament, but I think it was less noticeable that she wasn't 100% because how good Spain are. And if we're critiquing James for not being fit and being played, then we should say the same for Bonmatí. She obviously missed her penalty. Not to say that meningitis was the reason why she missed a penalty, but But when you have a player like Bonmatí, even if they're like 50%, you play them. When you have a player like Lauren James, even if they're at 30%, you play them. You know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You see it all the time in men's football. You know, Ronaldo in Portugal, Messi in Argentina, and all sorts of other occasions. Salah Liverpool. So I was a little surprised because I didn't know how fit she would be, and there was a moment early in the game where there was a chance for her to score, and I noticed it then. That she hadn't put the foot on the gas when she was running down that side. So I don't think we should be so critical in the fact that she was involved, because she made it clear very early on that it wasn't going to work, and obviously as a result Kelly came on, and Kelly was the reason why England won in the end. So not surprised by that. In terms of Spain, as you mentioned, Castillo starting, that was maybe a bit sort of up in the air. People maybe weren't expecting that. I wasn't sure whether or not Gonzalez was going to play from the start or Paralelo was going to come off from the bench, because I think that they're so different. And in my preview of the final, I talked about this, like Gonzalez and Paralelo being two completely different players. We saw Paralelo in the 2023 final. She's someone who likes to get involved in the build-up, drop steep, sort of plays more within the half spaces, but Gonzalez is, a completely different beast. She plays in more central positions, so I think there was maybe some toss-ups there, but I wasn't expected to be surprised about what Spain were doing. I mean, I don't know if Cani feels differently knowing a bit more about the Spanish players.
Yeah, actually, I just want to add for Esther. I mean, I do agree with this difference between her and Salma. But interesting was because in Real Madrid, in big games, especially in Clásicos, she would be pulled back and she would be a good, in a good defensive role. However, with her at the back all the time, we had zero attack. So it was mostly her at the back all the time and doing a good defensive work, or her in attack all the time. So yeah, basically these like or like either or stuff. And I just want to add for Atenea. Yeah, I mean, like, okay, I saw a lot of like comments on Twitter, like, okay, it was like fine, like Atenea is starting, a lot of people were happy about it, but then then there's no Pina. And there was a problem because, as you said, Yash, it was like kind of already a system set up that Atenea would come on later and she would be an impact sub, and it worked. She actually had a goal contributions in the last 3 games. She also scored against Italy. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know, was decided to start today. And it was very weird because I saw her all around. Like, she was, I guess, like primarily on the right side, but also what she does in the club with Caicedo is she switches sides all the time. And she did it, like, it's not like just switching sides with Mariona. No, not that. She was everywhere at any point of time in the game. Like, she would just, like, be following the ball. If the attack is on the left, then she's on the left. If the attack's on the right, she's still on the right. So, yeah, that was a thing that she usually does. So, yeah, I'm guessing that didn't really, like, in the second half, it was kind of depleted, this kind of thing. And, yeah, I'm guessing this is why.
Can I ask whether you think that those changes in the lineup were intentional? Because Spain, Bonmatí previously talks about the fact that Spain have done their homework on previous teams tactically. When I was doing my research, I found out they've recently increased their tactical analysis team from 7 to 11. They've got more time to do more granular stuff. So I was wondering whether maybe those changes were intentional from Thomas. Is that something you would say, or do you because you said you were kind of surprised about the change in system? Just curious, really.
Actually, I didn't know about that increase in analysis team. Very interesting. Yeah. Thank you for that info.
Well, that's how the 115-minute goal came around, because they'd studied Anne Catherine Berger's positioning near the post. Yeah. So I was thinking maybe, yeah.
Yeah. So if I may add, I definitely feel it was intentional. I think they were targeting with Athena's dribbling, I think they were targeting that space whenever Athena would pick the ball up and she would drive at her defenders, and they were trying to do that. Because if Pina starts, Pina and Athena are two very different sort of players. Pina and Mariona are similar kind of wingers who would like to come inside, combine with the midfield, and then try to make a move with the possession. Atenea rather is somebody who can make a run in behind, who can individually just carry the ball through a defense, or just drive inside and then find spaces and quickly link up with a quick exchange and make the run inside. So I think that was the target when I think they were expecting Jess Carter to start, and with Athenea they were trying to sort of create that maybe an isolation on the left hand side for
Overload.
Athenea to sort of try and get 1v1 situations and try to drive forwards with the ball, because uh, on the left hand side you have got Greenwood and you have got Jess Carter. uh, Greenwood doesn't really push that high up. Greenwood likes to stay a little behind. So having a player who can, also pin them back and not allow Greenwood to, make a move forward in even if she wants to support the play. I think that was the intention for it. I personally wouldn't have gone for it because Spain has a lot of the ball. We expected England to sit deep and sort of defend in numbers. So tire them out initially, have good ball players like Mariona and Pina who can sort of control and move around the ball a lot, and then against tired legs bring on Atenea who has the pace, who has the drive to carry the ball forward. I think that would have worked better because there is a higher chance of making small errors or pulling other players into challenges that they don't want to, and then as a result conceding a penalty or conceding a foul in dangerous areas. So I think that would have worked better rather than starting Athena. But I think it was a tactical decision from Tome, to be honest. And yeah, I agree about the point you brought up about Lauren James. She's such a game changing player that even if she's like 30, 40, 50% fit, you want to take a chance because she can produce that moment of magic. It did not come off this game, but yeah, I mean, totally get that decision as well. I think both the goals came from crosses, both the goals came from headers, and it was one thing that I have noticed a lot. England doing a lot in this tournament, like they have been crossing awfully lot. They crossed some 43 or 40, I think they crossed 51 times against Italy.
Yeah.
uh, yeah, and that is sort of a single game record since 2013 at the Euros. I spoke about this as well. I felt like the games would be decided on crosses or on the flanks, and that was the case. Mariam, what was your feeling like this whole tactic about England trying to cross the ball? And oftentimes the reason it hasn't worked because they have generated what, some 17 shots from it. Before the final, they had generated 17 shots from crosses out of their 150 some attempts. So once every 17 9 crosses or something. uh, it hasn't worked a lot of the times because oftentimes you have Alessia Russo sort of dropping deep to link up play or to offer as a passing outlet, and there isn't any target in the box. If Russo is out of the box trying to link play, there is nobody who sort of targets or gets positioned in the box. And oftentimes that was solved later on when Ajemang came in, and she was the one pinning the center backs and being a target for those crosses. But what did you make of this tactic from England throughout the tournament, and especially it paid dividends in the final? Russo was there in the box. Kelly's cross did find her, and she scored. But yeah, I just want to get your thoughts on it.
I think generally it's been something that England have started doing a lot more because they struggle against teams that are either presenting low or mid blocks, struggling against teams that are clogging up those central areas. We've seen Welsh and Stanway, who are the midfield pivots, not being able to be that creative because teams are learning again now how to set up against England. A couple times against France and even Wales, I noticed that whether it was Williamson or Greenwood, we would start using these cross-field balls because that first of all you bypass the press, but secondly you get that whether it's Hemp or James, they'd be on one-on-one situations with Wales's fullbacks or France's fullbacks, and then whether or not Walsh or Stanley were pushing forward, there would be that overload. And so I started noticing, okay, this is maybe a technique we're using to try and like almost get through the fact that we're not going to really have a lot of space centrally. Yes, Russo does drop deep quite often to connect with whether it's it's Mead or even Hemp coming inside, but you are right in pointing that out. It doesn't really work because then who's in the middle for these crosses? I've noticed that this tournament, when Weigmann brings on Agyemang, she normally doesn't take off Russo. So I was kind of shocked, like this game she did that. So usually she takes off either one of the defenders or she takes off one of the holding midfielders. I actually looked back to see all of Agyemang's substitutions and who she came off for. I think it was like Greenwood, Williamson, Stanway. So like she doesn't usually come off for like another striker. So Russo coming off was a bit strange, but also didn't see Aggie either. So I think just generally initially we were using it as to have a different dimension, because I feel like maybe the last year or so England have looked pretty one note. You know, what do you do when plan A isn't working? Obviously plan B at the moment involves putting on Agyemang and hoping that something amazing happens, but this is a part of the game that needs to grow. I think it also helps that we can work on existing talent within the team, like Alex Greenwood. If you look at her stats for the WSL last season with Manchester City, I mean each season the passing metrics are strong, the crossing metrics are strong. She really prefers, in swinging crosses. And then you look at players like Kelly, or whether it's James, or whether it's even one of the fullbacks coming forward. Strong stats again, strong inclination towards swingers. I always thought that heading against Spain would be a little easier because apart from maybe I'm wrong in this, apart from maybe Gonzalez, Caldente, they don't generally have like an aerially threatening squad. I remember that goal against Belgium, was it Van Hammermet, who absolutely took out Alexandria, and so
she's a lighthouse of a player. Like
I know she's like, and it's like, oh, maybe this will work, but actually, Gonzalez is just as powerful in the air, and maybe that's kind of the reason why she started. So, kind of a roundabout way of answering your question about crosses. I think it's something we're going to need to build and develop on, because when you're tactically one note, it becomes so easy to just stifle. I mean, think of the France performance. France is really suffocating 4-1 press. England just had no space, no time at all. So the next question is, how do you get over that? Well, crossing is working, especially if you're crossing from one flank to the other, because you're creating these angles, whether it's vertical angles, angles running into the box, one-on-ones, bylines, all things England are really good at. So it works, and it's good to see in this tournament. But again, I feel like Russo in the air, the right ball between the centre-backs, where space behind Paredes is kind of a running theme, has been this tournament. I didn't expect it not to go in, so yeah.
Yeah, I just need to add, I was watching it with a friend, and when they were replaying Russo's goal, it was because she was in between the two center backs, and was like, oh wow, it was 2 against 1 and none of them marking her. Well done, yay, let's go. And a few minutes later, there's a cross to Spain's left side where Olga was, and against Hemp, obviously, and she did so well in that aerial duel. She even jumped. I never saw Olga doing that, by the way. And I was like, okay, this is how you do it. I don't know how she knows that, but this is how you do it, guys. This is how you defend crosses.
And the defending on both the crosses that turned into goals was quite poor. I think Lucy Bronze as well, not being aware that Caldente is right behind her on that cross, was also quite a bad watch, to be honest. So defending on both those crosses were not, and I think absolutely I agree with the fact that also England have some really good crossers of the ball. You have got Hemp, who loves doing this volume crossing thing. You have got Kelly, who loves doing this volume crossing thing. So why not Hemp leads the charts in most open play crosses at the tournament. She like Hemp and Kelly together for City as well. They have done this for quite a while. This was their go to attack the byline and sort of put the ball in and create that sort of chaos. So yeah, when you have the players, when you have the tools, I think it makes sense to sort of give in to that. But yeah, you mentioned one interesting point about Ajimang being substituted for a defender and England sort of going making that formation change mid game a lot of the times. And I think in this game as well they did it for a brief period, where we had Bronze moving into the midfield and it turned into a back three sort of situation immediately after sort of England scored for the brief period. I think 10-15 minutes. It did not really work. I wasn't sure what they were trying to do. Maybe they were trying to push as many bodies forward as possible. Like they were trying to free up one midfielder to sort of be there and make those late runs, crashing runs into the box. But what were your thoughts on that? Did you notice it, or was I hallucinating?
No, no. I know what you mean, because I think they've tried it a couple of times this tournament, where essentially Bronze will play in a more inverted role,
Yeah.
forming that back three. I think we probably saw it against Wales and maybe a couple of other times. For me, it feels like the emphasis there is to engage with the opposing team's fullbacks quite high up the pitch, to not allow them to make those wide runs, but also simultaneously overload the midfield. So if there is a turnover of possession, suddenly it's like 5-on-3 or like 4-on-4, whatever. So maybe the idea was that because Spain do leave space behind their fullbacks, whether it's Carmona or Batchi or otherwise, maybe that there was a chance of countering behind them, and Bronze could use her speed because she's really fast. Use her speed if that happened. But I think they realised quite quickly that actually it's really risky, because that is dependent on there being turnovers, and Spain had like 70% of the ball. So and I like to say that yes, I did see what you saw as well. I saw it a couple of times this tournament. It is real. I think I've got screenshots as well. But yeah, I think they realised. I'm glad they did realise very quickly that it's not going to work against a team so possession heavy.
Yeah. Yeah, so just wanted to confirm what I was saying. But yeah, I think apart from that, I think there are two performances in this game that deserve a sort of a special mention, and we'll start with talking about one of them in defense. Jess Carter, absolutely brilliant performance from her from start to finish. Did not sort of put a foot wrong, tracked runs really really well. Despite lacking pace, I think her positioning and everything was quite good, which compensated for a lot of it, and Spain weren't able to get on the good side of her. uh, so yeah, I think a very solid performance in the final, in the big stage. And if you add the context of whatever is going around her with the racial abuses that she received, and decided to take a step back from social media and everything, I think this comes at a very good point that one of the players is responsible for this successful title defense by England. I'll come to you, Kanita, first for this. What did you make of Jess Carter's performance in this game? Did you notice any moments that really stood out to you, and just overall thoughts on her performances in the final?
No, I like, yeah, I obviously, I think as everyone else, like, expected her to be back for this game, and boy, did she like return and really made a statement. I'm really really happy for her, man. But yeah, I mean, she was in like from her interceptions, even aerial duels, and clearances all the time. She was covering a lot of ground as well. So, um, masterful performance, and it is, as you said, it's very poetic that she's one of the let's say guilty ones this time for England's win. And yeah, man, very happy for her.
Yeah, Mariam, what were your thoughts on that performance from Carter?
Yeah, I think Kanye's right. I spent most of the half like trying to think of what I wanted to say about Carter. Like I was trying to think of a tweet or a post to be like, this has been an immense performance from her, Titanic performance, playing against the Spain side that are so like fluid on and off the ball.
Yeah.
The movement to keep tracking, whether it was either like Pateas pushing forward or whether Gonzalez had got between one of the centre backs. She was just everywhere. You didn't necessarily need to focus on the fact that maybe she lacks certain speed in one-on-one situations, because she was making up for that so brilliantly. And I think the entire backline had a strong defensive performance. Cohesive maybe is a word I would pick, because even when there were definitely a couple of times where like Carter came up really high to try and get the ball and failed, and then there's tons of space behind her. Greenwood able to come across, like just communicating a lot and making sure that there was never any situation where they were in real trouble. There was one, like maybe a couple of moments late in the game, like in added extra time, where possibly like Bonmatí threaded a pass through, and maybe Parallelo was in, but I think just generally on the whole, her having to like get away from social media and keep her head focused is so much additional pressure. People don't really understand how mental health affects you when you're a person of colour, and you have to always consider your worth when it comes to being on the football pitch, in a major sort of journalistic light for one of the best teams in the world at the moment. So although she was, yes, immense and Titanic in defence, I think we should also credit her mental strength, because it's not easy. It's not easy at all to manage the dark thoughts, and she did that. She sat out the whole game. Esme Morgan was amazing, just thrown in completely for that last game against Sweden. But Jess Carter came in. She faced those demons head on, and I think we should make it very clear that what she's doing is just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I was just looking at some numbers as well to back that up, but beyond like her performance in the final goes sort of beyond that, because it is also, she stood for something that has been very prevalent in English football. I mean, across football in general as well. And it's an easy scapegoat for a lot of the times for these racist people who, if you make a mistake and if you're a player of color, like it's over. That was we have seen multiple such examples, and I'm really glad that Carter ends with a trophy, ends on the glory side, so that she can shut it up immediately. Nothing better, no better way to do it than this. And honestly, like it was a monstrous performance. She had like 8 clearances, she had 2 blocked shots, 2 interceptions. Really, really solid performance. And what a way to sort of come back into the starting lineup in a big stage and just make a mark, saying that she's here for a reason. And she makes this backline much more solid than it is without her. So really good performance from her. And I think the other player that we have to talk about, it's always her somehow in these big moments for England. She's always there. It was so good for the first time, like she had to do it again. Scored the winner 3 years back against Germany. Here scoring the winning penalty. And when she steps up, you don't really feel any sort of nerves. Like you are like, okay, it's Kelly, she's going to score. Like I don't know what it is, but despite that weird jump action that she has, which she says she can't take a penalty otherwise, without it, whatever it is, like it's working. And she has got this clutch gene that very few players have in football in general. Whenever there's a big moment, England were down and out, she came on, produced those crosses against Sweden, and got them through. She is always there in these moments when England needs somebody to carry them through, and she did it once again. Chloe Kelly, once again scoring the winning penalty. What did you make of her performance?
I have 2 things I need to say. First of all, I was thinking of the YouTube thing that, the Instagram thing even that Kanye sent me. The video where they're like, oh, England just scored. That's what he's talking about. But there's also one where he does the kick. She tries to impersonate the kick. That's what I was thinking. We're gonna put the video out there, right? So you understand. It's just really funny.
What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you talking about? Do you know the game plan? What's the score again? 0-0. It's 0-0. 0-0. I'm so sorry, sis. I'm sorry. Yeah, you can go ahead and score. Our bench is gonna come on and score. You know, Kelly's gonna come on and do that.
But secondly, right, it's really interesting you say that, because something I was thinking about during the whole game is that as we were getting to penalties, the commentary was really hyping it up as like this taboo word, like, oh, don't say the P word, oh my god, it's happening, don't get me in trouble. And I'm just thinking, and Nathan, my husband, who was watching, pointed out, he said the reason why people feel nervous about penalties is because we're making it like this big scary thing. But when you think of Chloe Kelly and you think about this whole PR narrative of her being like ice cold, think of the effect that has on an individual. It makes them more confident. We make penalties this big scary thing, right? Because we feed into it as media, as journalists, as you know, history. We don't let go of moments like, you know, all the Gareth Southgate stuff, and we allow it to affect us mentally and psychologically. But Chloe Kelly seems to have built this personality and this aura of someone who just does it in big moments, you know, like you take that in, you absorb it, you become that person because people believe in you. And so, like, yeah, whenever she does celebrations where she's just like, you know, putting her hands out, she's like, you know, it's fine, I'm here, you know, it's totally okay. Even when she missed that one and had to and scored from the follow up, it's like you have to be confident to take in confidence. And so I'm not surprised that it was her. I love the little penalty routine. I think it's cool, quirky. I haven't seen any other fun penalty routines this Euros apart from that one by the France player who started like
Respect
super.
Amel Marjorie. She
Yeah,
did a
she-
whole ass thing.
She was like, to be fair though, you know Mo Salah does his like that, right? But not that far though. She was like at a perpendicular angle where she was like,
She did a high jump running routine and then fluffed it.
but you know, like, but that's what I mean though. Chloe Kelly is the woman that she is because we all believe in her, right? Let's not make penalties this whole scary thing. She's just amazing. She buys into the hype, I think, and that's the thing about young players, not just her but Agumang as well. Just the more that we believe these players, the more that we are excited by them, that we don't show our disappointment when things don't go right, the more that they take on that analysis. And I just think that she is someone who the pressure doesn't even get to. She doesn't care that all that weight is on her shoulders. It's an incredibly difficult thing to do. Technically, her skills are amazing. I can't believe that, you know, this season, the year she's had, having to force herself away from Man City, getting into the Arsenal team, well done Arsenal, winning the Champions League final, and now this, like, good for her for getting out of a difficult situation because, boy, you know, it's it's been that kind of tournament.
You know, whenever I look at Chloe Kelly, all I can think is like she's somehow always thinking about aura farming. she's on football pitch looking for moments to aura farm, and she does it so well.
The celebration as well, the Thierry Henry
She
celebration.
she has infinite aura at this point. Like if there was one one player you would have to pick to, you know, attach to that word, it would be Chloe Kelly right now. Like she somehow always finds some way, whether it's through her celebration, whether it's through her penalties. It's crazy. Like
But it's like we expect that of her, and then she assumes that persona, and then she does good things. Whereas when we expect something to go badly or anxiously or nervously, and this is just a general concept in life, right? It turns that way. So penalties are this big scary thing, right? But Chloe Kelly on a penalty, that's a whole other question. She's definitely going to score, right? So
it's it's just amazing.
Yeah, it was crazy because like before that Spain had 3 missed penalties, and it was Mariona, then Aitana, then Parayuelo, right? And in neither of them did I see anything. Like I was before all 3 of those penalties, I was like, I'm feeling bad juju. Like you can just feel it somehow. And man, and then I saw Chloe Kelly step up and said, "Oh no, yeah, they're winning this here and that." and her aura right before the penalty. I mean, it's usually. I mean, I was so pissed at her for that assist as well. Like I in the moment I didn't realize that it was her. I didn't realize it came from the left side. Only before the replay did I. Oh, okay. This came from the left. Yeah, it's her assisting. But the penalty thing, the whole aura before the penalty, reminds me of Lucas Vasquez.
You know what, right? It's so funny. It's funny you say that because I absolutely hate him. You know why I hate him? Because he's always a player that comes on and he's like a Dirk Kuyt. I think I've used that phrase before to Nathan. He's like the player that comes on for the big moments. So I'm not surprised you said that she reminds you of him, because I think of him as a player who always comes on and somehow scores, and I really hate that, because I think he's done it against Liverpool a few times.
See, this is the kind of critical analysis that we were looking for. Drawing similarities between Lucas Vasquez and Chloe Kelly. I think that's enough analysis for the night. We are all we are all high from England's win, I think. And yeah, I think this is a good point to sort of end the pod. Once again, congratulations, Maryam. Your team has defended the title. There isn't a sixth different winner this year, at least for the European Championship. So before we conclude this, Maryam, thank you once again for agreeing to do this. Please let our listeners and our viewers know where they can find your work, where they can find you. Just take the stage.
So I usually am on Substack. I was kind of doing tactical analysis. I think that's apart from maybe you, Yash, and a couple of other people, I think there's a big market there in women's football. So I post a lot of stuff on there, unless I'm working other jobs. So you can find me on Substack. You can find me on Twitter, which is just my name. And I usually post stuff on Blue Ski as well, or Blue Sky even. And yeah, I love all things data and tactical analysis of women's football. It's not easy. It can be really hard. You kind of sometimes have to scour the depths of the net to find stuff. Gosh, yeah. Without access to proper services, it's just an absolute nightmare. But I love it and I enjoy it. So yeah, if you want to follow more of the stuff I've done this Euros next season, it's on Substack.
Go read it, guys. I love her Substack. I'll put it in the description and here and under our video.
With the video that.
Yes, everything.
The Instagram video with the
her username, her Substack, everything. Go read it.
No, I mean the Instagram video of the players doing.
Oh yeah, the video is. Don't worry, Maryam. Don't worry. Everyone will get the context. Even Yash does know the context. So yeah.
Yeah, so guys, go subscribe to her Substack, go follow her. She's an amazing person. She has a lot of knowledge about women's football as well, and she shares it really, really well. She writes about it really, really well. So go check out her insights, and yeah, thank you for listening to us. This series has been quite fun. We will be looking to do this whenever we get the chance to. Maybe we'll do a Champions League series next season. We'll think about it, but your support has been amazing throughout. Thank you once again. And this tea is going to go now. I don't think you'll see this now after this episode. So yeah, say goodbye to the Germany tea. We will be back with other teas. And yeah, so let's conclude this. Thank you everyone, and until next time, Hala Madrid.
Hala Madrid.
I'm not doing that.